So, um, how much of your life is a story you actually wrote versus, a story that was written for you?
Oh, that is the big question, isn't it?
Right. Like by your family, your society, or even, I don't know, the algorithms you interact with every single day.
I mean, that's essentially the ultimate question of free will. And it becomes incredibly urgent when the invisible hands guiding your life become just like too heavy to ignore.
Yeah, when you realize you're just a side character in someone else's script.
Exactly, when you realize somebody else is holding the pen.
Well, today we are taking a massive stack of sources to explore exactly that. Welcome to the deep dive, by the way. We're looking at this brilliant Brazilian sci-fi and cyberpunk universe created by Murilo Ricardo Granato.
Yes, the series is called Universos Fragmentados, or Fragmented Universes.
Right, and our mission for this deep dive is all about the focus of stories. We're going to examine how characters in these, like, sprawling, neon-lit, super dystopian cities survive. And spoiler alert, they don't do it just by stockpiling heavy weapons.
Yeah. No, or just upgrading their cybernetics, which is the usual cyberpunk trope.
Exactly.
Huh.
They survive by actively and sometimes really violently rebelling against the tragic narratives that were handed to them.
Which is such a crucial lens for this kind of setting. I mean, in a world dominated by mega corporations, advanced AI, brutal crime syndicates, controlling the narrative is, well, it's the ultimate form of currency.
It's everything.
Right. If someone else writes your story, they own you. So reclaiming that story is the ultimate act of defiance.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit, because before we can even talk about the characters rewriting their individual stories, we kind of have to look at how the quote-unquote story of this universe itself is recorded.
Oh, the architecture of the narrative.
Yeah, like how do you rewrite your life when the very concepts of time and memory are being controlled by the people at the top?
Well, the author does something brilliant here with the concept of time. In the world of Universos Fragmentados, the Gregorian calendar.
Wait, hold on, the Gregorian calendar, like the one you and I and everyone listening to this uses right now.
That exact one. It has been completely rejected by those seeking freedom in this universe.
But why? I mean, it just tells us it's Tuesday or, October. Why would they reject that?
Because the lore explicitly calls it out as an administrative grid.
An administrative grid. Okay.
Right. It's a system that, quote, untransforms time into abstract math. I mean, think about it. The Gregorian calendar was created for civil standardization, religious convention, and state control.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah, it basically forces the natural flowing experience of time into these equal artificial boxes. It exists so a corporation can track your productivity in fiscal quarters.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, it's like a rigid corporate spreadsheet.
Exactly.
It forces your life into these neat little cells.
Mm.
So if they throw out the spreadsheet, what replaces it? How does a hyper-advanced cyberpunk society actually function without standardized time? Doesn't that just create mass chaos?
You'd think so, but it actually creates a different kind of order. They use what's called the Lunisolar-Gaia calendar.
The Lunisolar-Gaia calendar.
Right, so instead of a spreadsheet, think of it more like a musical score. It dictates the rhythm and the emotional flow of the story. It connects time back to the real phases of the moon, the tides, the actual variations in light.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, so you have months named Silent Luna, which is a time of silence and beginning, or Flux Luna, a time of growing light and movement.
So if you're living by this calendar, you aren't waking up because, it's 7 a.m. and time to clock in. You're moving in sync with the physical world around you.
Precisely. And what's really fascinating here is the realization that naming and measuring time is fundamentally an act of power.
Right. Who holds the clock holds the power.
Exactly. By changing the calendar, the author is showing us that true liberation starts by changing the very framework of how we perceive our reality.
Wow.
If your time is measured by a corporation, your life belongs to the corporation. But if your time is measured by the natural cosmos, you belong to the universe.
It totally shifts your perspective. And, the author, Granato, she actually bakes this philosophy into her very writing process.
Oh, the linguistic choice she makes. Yes.
Yeah, in her notes, she explains this fascinating choice she made for the series. She intentionally transmuted negative words.
Right, which is so hard to do as a writer.
Totally. Like, instead of having characters say, I didn't understand, she writes it so the character affirms what was felt.
That is a profound meta-narrative choice, really. It's an active decision to tell stories of presence rather than absence.
Yeah, focusing on what is there, not what isn't.
Exactly. By eliminating the language of what isn't there, the characters are forced to fully embody their experiences. They can't hide behind a lack of something. They have to confront what is actually happening in the room with them.
Which brings us directly to the other pillar of our personal stories, right?
Yeah.
Memory.
Yes, time and memory.
Because you can't write a new chapter if you don't know what happened in the last one.
Mhm.
And this takes us to the year 2879 in this very dystopian version of Sao Paulo.
Right, and we meet Dr. Akiko Akiyama.
Yes, a brilliant doctor. And she's working on a project called CogniSynth.
CogniSynth is such a fascinating piece of world building. It's this bleeding-edge quantum nanotechnology, and it's designed to safely access and replay human memories.
Safely, quote unquote.
Right. Well, the stated goal is therapeutic. It's to let people relive their most beautiful moments, to, find warmth in bitter days.
I have to admit, I'm really struggling with the therapeutic angle here.
Yeah.
If I'm understanding the tech right, this isn't just like watching a home video in your mind.
No, not at all. Because it utilizes quantum nanotech, it interfaces directly with your neural pathways.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it artificially recreates the exact synaptic firing and the chemical rush of the original memory.
So you feel it completely.
Completely. Your brain actually doesn't know it's a memory. It thinks it is happening right now, in real time.
See, that makes me want to push back on the whole concept.
Go for it.
If you have technology that perfectly replays your most beautiful memories on demand, complete with the physical euphoria, aren't you just trapping people in their past chapters?
It's a huge risk.
Yeah, like instead of letting them write new ones, it feels less like therapy and more like an anchor, or honestly, a highly addictive drug.
That is the exact danger, and you've hit on the core theme there. It creates a static narrative.
Right.
If you are constantly looking backwards, replaying the highlight reel over and over, you cease to be an active participant in your present.
You're stuck.
Yes, you stop weaving new threads into your life. You become a passive consumer of your own history.
And staying static in the world of Universos Fragmentados is a luxury these characters simply cannot afford.
Oh, absolutely not. It's a death sentence.
If they stay static, they die, because they are thrust into horrific, predetermined scripts.
So let's shift gears a bit and look at the book Raposa Sonhem com Gatos, which translates to Do Foxes Dream of Cats.
Such a great title.
It is. And here we get one of the most heartbreaking setups of an inherited script.
Yes, this takes us to the year 2857 in a dystopian Nagasaki. The atmosphere is just oppressive, blinding neon, unbearable heat, and absolute crushing poverty. And we meet a young boy named Hikaru. His story starts with just the ultimate betrayal. He is quite literally sold by his mother, Chiyo.
Who is heavily addicted to neo-heroin.
Right. She sells her own son to the Ryokai Yakuza clan for 3 million nines.
And just to put that in perspective for you listening, in this world's economy, 3 million nines is roughly the price of a mid-tier hover car.
That is insane.
Yeah, she traded her child's entire future for the equivalent of a used vehicle just to feed her addiction.
It's sickening. The mother is consumed by her own tragic narrative of addiction, and she attempts to write Hikaru into a story of absolute subjugation.
A story he had no say in.
None. He is handed over to the criminal underworld, and the script they have for him is super simple. You are a tool. You will be molded into a violent cog in our machine until you break.
But Hikaru refuses to read the lines he's been given.
Exactly. I love this part.
Yeah.
While he's trapped in this terrifying Yakuza den, he sneaks away into a junk room full of discarded relics.
Right, looking for anything.
And he finds two things that completely change his destiny. An old French diary filled with dense quantum nanotechnology nodes, and a deactivated robotic dog raccoon, a tanuki.
Those two items are literally his keys out of the narrative prison.
They really are. It's like, imagine you're trapped in an unwinnable video game, right?
Okay.
The Yakuza wanted Hikaru playing on survival mode as this low-level grunt, but finding that quantum physics diary in a criminal den is like finding a developer's cheat code hidden in the game files.
I love that analogy. That's exactly it. He doesn't just find a book. He finds the source code to his reality.
Yes.
He realizes he doesn't have to play the game by their rules. The Yakuza demanded obedience and destruction, but instead Hikaru channels his immense intellect into understanding the nanotech.
He rewrites the code.
Exactly. He opens the command console of his life and changes his character class from grunt to engineer. He decides to be a creator in a world that only destroys.
It's so powerful. But then we have the exact opposite approach to breaking the script.
Oh, yes. The destructive approach.
Right. If Hikaru rewrites his story by building, another character does it by basically burning the whole theater down. In the book A Vermella, or The Red Snow, we meet a character born as Akilina Orlov-Volkov.
Her backstory is steeped in a very specific, cold brutality.
Cold is definitely the right word. Her mother, Daria, is brutally murdered right in front of her through a live video feed.
It's a horrific scene.
And the killer, her own father, Hedion. And Hedion isn't just a terrible dad. He is a ruthless leader in the Russian mafia, the Vorovskoy Mir.
Right, a very powerful man.
And he looks at his daughter and says he killed her mother to mold her, Akilina, into a strong, unbreakable weapon. He explicitly wrote a script of blood for her.
Let's unpack the psychological weight of Hedion's logic for a second, because it's intense.
Please do.
He attempts to forge her in the fires of extreme, calculated trauma. His whole philosophy is one of toxic isolation.
Like trusting no one.
Exactly. He genuinely believes that love, connection, family, they're all weaknesses. By violently stripping away her mother's love, he thinks he is leaving her with nothing but the cold, calculating ruthlessness required to rule a criminal empire.
And, well, she does snap. She rejects her birth name entirely. Akilina is dead to her.
Yes, she buries that identity.
She embraces a new identity, calling herself Trix, and claims the title of an alpha wolf. And then she gets her revenge in the most cinematic, bloody way possible.
The scene in the snow.
Yeah, she literally slaughters her father and his right-hand man, Rurik, leaving their bodies just mangled in the red-stained snow. It is brutal. But I'm looking at this, and I have to ask you.
Go ahead.
Did she actually rewrite her story? Like, if her father's whole goal was to turn her into a ruthless, unbreakable killer, and she proves her independence by ruthlessly killing him, didn't she just play the exact character he wrote for her?
That is a brilliant question, and it's really the core psychological paradox of her entire arc. Did she rewrite the script, or did she just cross out his name and write hers on the cover?
Exactly. It feels like he won.
On the surface, it absolutely looks like he won. He wanted a killer, he got a killer. But if we look closer at the world building and the text itself, there is a massive nuance here.
Okay, what am I missing?
Rewriting your story often requires using the very tools of your trauma. She uses the violence he taught her, yes, but she radically redirects its purpose.
I'm not sure I follow. I mean, violence is violence, isn't it?
Not in the context of narrative intent. Look at the symbolism she actively adopts. She calls herself Trix, the alpha wolf.
Right.
In Granado's world building, it's explicitly noted that wolves are creatures that choose a partner for life. They symbolize intense loyalty, community, and a fierce, protective love for their pack.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Hedion's whole philosophy was toxic isolation. Kill your own wife to prove you don't need anyone.
Exactly. And Trix's violence is a total rejection of that isolation. By aligning herself with the wolf, she is reclaiming her narrative.
That makes so much sense.
She uses his weapons, the coldness, the killing capacity, but she completely refuses his ideology. Her violence isn't used to accumulate power or isolate herself. It's used as a surgical tool to excise the rot so she can protect her chosen pack.
Wow. Okay, so she uses the jagged edges of her own trauma to just cut herself free from his control.
Beautifully put, yes.
That is heavy, but it makes perfect sense. She's basically saying, I am a weapon, but I'm not your weapon.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. You can't really rewrite your story in a vacuum, right?
No, you definitely can't.
Like, you change your narrative, you take control, and inevitably you are going to collide with someone else's world.
Inevitably. I mean, every choice we make ripples outward. Think about your own life. When you decide to stop playing the background character in someone else's story and finally take the pen yourself, you are going to bump into other authors.
Right.
And sometimes their stories are wildly incompatible with yours.
Which brings us right back to Dr. Akiko Akiyama, the creator of the CogniSynth memory tech we talked about earlier.
Yes, her story in Metade im Traumas, or Half on Fire.
Right. So Akiko lives in a place called the Zenith.
And the Zenith is exactly what it sounds like. It is the floating, hyper-wealthy, super sterile upper tier of São Paulo.
Yeah. And Akiko's life up there is perfectly linear. She's a respected researcher. Her days are predictable, clean, and completely emotionally numb. She is living the ultimate Gregorian spreadsheet life.
That's a great way to put it.
But then she collides with a woman named Maia. And Maia is everything the Zenith is not. She's from the chaotic, dangerous, vibrant, neon-drenched underworld known as Netheria, or Centralia.
Right. Akiko and Maia aren't just from different social classes. They are two completely different narrative genres colliding.
Well, I like that.
Akiko's life is a sterile medical procedural. Maia's life is a chaotic, unpredictable thriller.
That is so true.
When Maya enters Akiko's world, she shatters the predictable rhythm. She introduces danger, yes, but also genuine, visceral emotion. For the first time, Akiko isn't just surviving, she's actually feeling.
And then the ultimate inciting incident happens. Maya seemingly dies.
It's devastating.
Akiko is absolutely shattered. She retreats back into her numbness. But a year later, Akiko receives a cryptic package from Maya.
From beyond the grave, supposedly.
Right, and inside is a red flip phone, an analog pocket watch, a broken compass, and a piece of paper with geographic coordinates.
It is a literal invitation to the underworld.
Exactly. This is the crossroad. Akiko has to choose. Stay in her safe, predictable, numb story, or step into the abyss to find the truth.
Yeah, she takes the leap.
She goes for it. She abandons her prestigious research, teams up with an incredibly advanced rule-breaking android named Kiara, and drops down into Netheria. It is such a wild shift.
It really is a massive tone shift for her character.
It's like a classical violinist playing at Carnegie Hall, suddenly dropping her priceless Stradivarius and diving headfirst into a heavy metal mosh pit.
That's a perfect way to visualize it. She isn't just changing locations, she is smashing the instruments of her old life to feel the raw vibration of reality.
Yeah.
And those specific items Maya left her, they are deeply symbolic of that shift.
Right. I was really thinking about this. Why give someone a broken compass and an obsolete analog watch?
That's a great question.
I mean, in a cyberpunk future, those are basically paperweights. But is Maya basically telling Akiko to stop trying to measure her life?
Yeah.
To stop trying to find true north in a world that fundamentally doesn't make sense?
That is precisely the message.
Really?
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture of the series, the Zenith represents a story of absolute control. Up there, everything is measured, everything is clean, but it's totally devoid of real humanity.
It's a grid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The broken compass and the analog watch are Maya's way of saying the tools of the Zenith will not help you down here.
Because Netheria doesn't run on a grid.
Exactly. Netheria represents chaos, danger, and immense pain, but it is also the only place where Akiko can find genuine human connection.
She has to lose control to gain her life.
Right. She has to let go of that rigid Gregorian-style control and embrace the unpredictable lunisolar flow of real life. She has to let herself be lost to truly find her own story.
And she really needs to embrace the chaos quickly because Netheria is hiding some dark, twisted authors of its own.
Oh, yes, it is.
Enter a character named Saymon.
Oh, man.
Saymon. He is terrifying.
He really is one of the most unsettling antagonists.
If Hikaru and Trix are examples of overcoming trauma, Saymon is the physical embodiment of unhealed trauma.
Saymon is the dark mirror to everything we've discussed today. He is someone who suffered immensely. He was subjected to brutal, mind-altering experiments as a child.
Just horrific stuff.
But unlike Trix, who uses her trauma to protect a pack, or Hikaru, who uses his to build new tech, Saymon uses his trauma to infect the world.
He is known in the underworld as the artist of chaos.
Right.
There's this incredibly chilling scene where characters walk into his space and the walls are covered in this black, dripping, erratic paint.
It's a very visceral description.
It's described as having grotesque figures, distorted eyes, macabre creatures. But it's not just visually disturbing. The black paint literally physically hurts the minds of the people who look at it.
We have to explain the mechanism of that, because it's not magic, it's dark science.
Right. How does paint give you a psychic headache?
So the paint is laced with bioresonant nanopigments.
Nanopigments. Oh.
These pigments vibrate at a highly specific frequency that directly interfaces with the human optic nerve. When you look at his art, you aren't just seeing a picture. His unhealed neurological trauma is being forcibly broadcasted directly into your brain's synapses.
That is terrifying.
It induces actual physical agony.
Wow. And he's associated with the Seven of Cups tarot card, right?
Yeah.
Which symbolizes illusions, ungrounded desires, and toxic choices.
Yes, very fitting.
He doesn't just write a bad story for himself.
Correct.
He uses this bioresonant paint to force everyone else into his nightmare.
That is the ultimate tragedy of Saymon. He represents what happens when you refuse to heal or refuse to rewrite your narrative.
You just spread the disease.
You don't just stay static, you project your nightmare onto everyone around you. His trauma becomes a weapon of mass psychological destruction. It's a stark warning the author gives us. If you don't actively choose to reclaim your story, your unhealed wounds will write it for you, and they will drag innocent people into the abyss.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've covered a massive amount of ground today.
We really have.
We've seen how the very structures of time and memory, like the lunisolar calendar and the neural looping of CogniSynth, form the invisible architectures of our daily narratives.
And we've explored how characters fiercely rebel against the violent, deterministic scripts they were handed.
Right, like Hikaru finding the source code to change his destiny.
Or Trix reclaiming her humanity through the protective symbolism of the wolf.
And we've watched Akiko smash her pristine, sterile life in this Zenith to embrace the chaotic, beautiful, and dangerous reality of the underworld, facing off against the weaponized trauma of characters like Saymon.
Which brings us to a really beautiful overarching concept in Morella Ricardo Granado's universe, something called the Corcus-drama.
The Corcus-drama, what exactly is that?
It is the universal tapestry.
The universal tapestry.
Right. It's the underlying cosmic flow that connects everything. Human emotion, technological advancement, and the natural world.
Oh, wow.
In this universe, every single action, every rewritten script, every memory accessed or trauma overcome acts as a vibration along the threads of the Corcus-drama.
It's like the universe itself has a memory of every choice you make, which is a wild thought.
It is.
I mean, in a world that is constantly bombarding you with information, tracking algorithms, societal scripts, and external expectations, every single choice you make is a thread in this massive, interconnected tapestry.
Every choice either repeats a pattern or introduces a new color to the weave.
So as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with this to ponder. If the Corcus drama exists, if the universe records every time you accept a script or tear one up, what happens when you finally decide to rewrite your story?
Does the universe resist you, trying to force you back into the old pattern?
Or does the universe rewrite itself around you?
That's the real question.
We'll leave you to think about that one. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the fragmented universes around us. Keep questioning the script, keep finding your own rhythm, and whatever you do, don't let anyone else hold the pen.